Not every great business story starts with some genius tech idea or a plan to change the entire world. Some of them start, well, a lot more quietly. They start with the rhythmic hum of a machine and a really simple, powerful desire for a different kind of life. And this is one of those stories. It's about trading a path that everyone understands for one that most people overlook, and finding freedom not in some flashy startup, but in one of the most normal businesses you can imagine.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Could you walk away from a good, stable career, something you probably went to school for, something that gives you a steady paycheck, for a business that runs on quarters? It's a heck of a question, right? It really gets to the heart of what we're all after. Is it the safety of the known path, or is it the freedom of being in control of your own life?
And this really lays out the two worlds at the center of this choice. On one hand, you've got being a registered nurse, an absolutely critical, noble job, no question about it. But it's also a world of high stress, crazy long hours, and just constant pressure. Then you look at the other side, a laundromat owner. It doesn't sound nearly as glamorous, does it? But what it represents is a total shift in thinking. It's the difference between trading your time for money and owning an asset that makes money for you. It's the difference between being the engine and owning the engine.
So this isn't just some hypothetical question. This is the real story of Cami. At 38 years old, she was a nurse, living that high-stress life we just talked about. And she found herself standing at that exact crossroads, wondering if she had the guts to take the other path. Her story is just an incredible look at what it really takes to tear up your life's blueprint and draw a new one from scratch.
Okay, so to really get the weight of her decision, we have to understand the world she was trying to escape. See, being a nurse, it's more than a job, it's a calling. But any calling that asks for that much of you, well, it comes with a price tag that you don't see on the job description.
That immense dedication, it means missed holidays. It means 12-hour shifts that somehow always turn into 14. It's a physical exhaustion, and maybe even more, the emotional burnout. You spend your days giving everything you have to other people, but what happens when you get home and you realize there's just nothing left? Nothing for your family, nothing for yourself. That's where Cami was. She was realizing the cost of her career was just getting too high.
So she hit a wall. She knew she couldn't keep going like this. She started looking for an off-ramp. And she wasn't trying to escape hard work. She was trying to find a different kind of work. Work where her effort built something she owned, something that could give her freedom. And her search didn't lead her to the world of tech startups or online businesses. Nope. It led her to a simple, essential, and totally overlooked neighborhood business, the local laundromat.
All right, this next part, this is the pivot point for the entire story. Because this wasn't some little side project she started with a few bucks. This was a single, massive, all-in bet on herself. The kind of decision where once you make it, there's absolutely no turning back.
To get the money to buy her new life, she had to sell her current one. To fund this whole dream, Cami made the absolutely gut-wrenching decision to sell her house. Think about that. This isn't just a financial risk anymore. This is deeply personal. She wasn't just gambling with money. She was gambling with her home, her stability, the actual roof over her head, all for a chance at something better. And this was the number, $300,000. That's what it cost to buy an existing laundromat in Arizona. Just let that sink in. Imagine taking every single penny of equity you've built up in your home, all those years of work and savings, and pushing it all across the table for a business you have zero experience in. The pressure must have been unbelievable, because when you make a move like that, there's no safety net. You either make it work or you lose it all. And that's exactly what it was, a total leap of faith. She was trading a guaranteed paycheck, benefits, and a job she knew inside and out for the complete, terrifying uncertainty of owning a small business. That's a trade most people would never make, and you can't blame them. But for Cami, the fear of staying right where she was had finally become more painful than the fear of jumping into the unknown.
So she made the leap. But the big question is, did it pay off? Well, this is where we get into the numbers. And let me tell you, the math behind a simple business like this is way more surprising than you'd think. This is how all that risk started turning into a massive reward.
Now, this didn't happen overnight, not by a long shot. Those first few years were basically a crash course in a new industry. I mean, she had to learn everything. How to fix the machines, manage employees, handle customers, set prices. She even added new ways to make money, like a wash and fold pickup and delivery service, which is a whole other operation to build. It was a grind, but it was a grind that was building an asset. And after about 3 years of that hard work, the numbers really started to talk.
And here we go. In 2024, her laundromat is on track to pull in about $475,000. In a year. That's nearly $500,000 flowing through a single neighborhood business. And that's not just from people putting quarters in the machines. That's from building a real operation. The self-service, the commercial clients, that pickup and delivery service. It just goes to show you how much value there is in serving a simple everyday need.
But revenue is vanity, right? Profit is sanity. So after you pay for everything, the rent, the massive utility bills, the staff, the soap, the repairs, what's actually left? About $119,000 in profit. That's her new salary. That is the actual money in her pocket. It's the tangible return on that terrifying risk she took, and it's the number that finally allowed her to walk away from nursing for good.
Now look, if the story ended right there, it would already be an incredible success story. A nurse risks it all, buys a laundromat, and replaces her professional salary. Amazing. But in today's world, there's often another layer to these stories. What if building the business actually created a second, totally separate business?
And this is the part of the story that is so 2024. While she was learning how to run a laundromat, Cami just started sharing her journey online. The real stuff, the broken washers, the weird things people leave in their pockets, the small wins. And people loved it. They loved the honesty. That storytelling built a huge audience. And that audience has turned into a second wildly profitable business. She's on track to make around $200,000 next year just from brand deals and other things related to her social media. It's incredible. Her journey became just as valuable as the business itself.
Okay, so we've seen the huge risk and we've seen the incredible reward. But what's the takeaway here? What can we actually learn from all this? Because the most valuable part of a story like this is the wisdom we can pull out of it, and maybe even use in our own lives. Well, first and foremost, she did it. She actually achieved the goal. The money from the business gave her the freedom to officially hang up her scrubs and quit her nursing job. She runs her businesses full-time now. This is the dream realized. She traded the stress and the crazy hours for control over her own life. She didn't just buy a business, she bought a whole new way of living.
So her journey really gives us a playbook with 3 key steps. First, look for boring businesses. While everyone else is chasing the next shiny tech thing, there are amazing opportunities in these steady, essential businesses that people will always need. Second, take one big, calculated risk. She didn't spread herself thin with 10 different side hustles. She went all in on one good opportunity, and that focus is what made it work. And third, document your journey. Your story is an asset. Sharing what you're doing, the good and the bad, can build a community and open up doors you never even knew existed.
And I think this quote just sums it all up perfectly. Real, life-changing success, it isn't always loud, it isn't always flashy. Sometimes it's just methodical, it's predictable, and it's quietly humming along in the background, serving a real need for real people day after day. And so that's the question I want to leave you with. As you're going about your week, just look around your own neighborhood. What are the boring businesses you walk past every single day? What quiet opportunities might be spinning away in a corner, just waiting for someone like you to have the courage to take a chance on them?
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, do us a favor and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more real business success stories just like this one.